can lean into your own personal discomfort, say what needs to be said in a non-offensive way, the more you make the world a better place. All right. Social media. Welcome, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram to today's Live at 5, live at 5:09, actually. Forgive me for being a few minutes late. It's been a busy day here at Jumpstart. When someone pushes your buttons, absolutely wonderful topic name to capture what we often describe in professional training as um, emotional dysregulation, emotional arousal, high emotional arousal, being emotionally animated. When someone pushes your buttons is a wonderful parlance for that experience. And interestingly, from where I'm coming to you in the state of Washington, our chief city's police chief, Seattle, is in the throes of explaining why a reporter pushed his buttons yesterday that actually led to, um, let's say, a very visible, unfortunate kind of interaction between a city official and a journalist. It was pretty evident that the police chief's buttons were pushed, and we're going to talk about that. But before we get started, just want to say there's a lot of exciting things happening with Jumpstart. We have released Icons of Influence on YouTube free of charge for anyone to enjoy and consume at their own pace. There are 8 sessions. The playlist is called Icons of Influence on our Jumpstart Mastery YouTube channel. You can access the sessions from the videos tab, but if you want to move through the discussions in an organized, continuous, and cohesive way, just go to playlists. You'll find Icons of Influence, the course, and you'll see the segments numbered 1 through 8, and you'll be able to move through a cohesive discussion that was, I don't know, probably somewhere around 7 to 8 hours in total with myself, the great Gary Nesner, founder of the FBI's crisis negotiation team, and the great Jack Cambria, longest standing commander of NYPD's hostage negotiation team. I'm sure they would also have an awful lot to say about when someone pushes your buttons. It's so central to what happens to people who have professional responsibilities to respond to others who present button pushing behavior. And what might that be? What pushes your buttons? I have a growing awareness and, let's say, compendium of things that I know can push mine. And where that leads me today is my buttons can be pushed, but I don't have to do anything about it. I can observe that they're pushed. I can experience the ill effect that if it's not managed, it might have, but I don't have to really do anything about it. Interestingly, is that state that something that everyone can pursue? The answer is yes. Does it mean that when my buttons are pushed, we normally associate the term your buttons are pushed, meaning there's some kind of discontrol or reaction, something unintentional in response. Um, but your buttons can be pushed, and you can also decide not to do anything with the experience of buttonology when your buttons are pushed. Well, what does it take to do that? Well, practicing, getting better at managing gestures from another person of disrespect. If someone tries to shame me, if someone tries to wrongly assign motivational attribution, if someone misdiagnoses me, if somebody, let's say, is threatening because they don't want to be um, rejected or abandoned for some reason by me, or they're doing something that makes me feel like I'm going to be abandoned. What are some practical strategies to manage those occurrences? Well, practicing for those occurrences does not occur during the thing itself. You're not going to learn a lot about managing your buttons being pushed if the only time you think about that is when your buttons are being pushed. So, one strategy might be to truly examine and explore with another human being when you're fully regulated. What are the things that they can, and you give them permission to do this, get them to say and do the things that you know are a source of vulnerability for you, and observe how it feels and experience the possibility of sitting with that and observing what thoughts come up upon someone's presentation of whatever it is that's your buttonology. What is your buttonology? I can have a very strong aversion, me personally now, to certain kinds of button pushing. What might that be today? Let's say when I am wrongly credited for something that I did not do. I guess that would fit under the category of misdiagnosis, or if I perceive that someone is trying to stick on me justification or cause for something that I did not participate in. My initial impulse when hearing that is going to be what my nervous system ordinarily does when I hear something like that. I'm going to feel what Tony would refer to as the startle flinch. I'm going to feel high emotional arousal. If there may be a fear spike, I'm going to feel some kind of reaction that the sensory thalamus and the amygdala have been activated. That's probably the best way to anatomically describe it. The sensory thalamus and the amygdala have been activated, resulting in the production of glucose, adrenaline, and cortisol. Whoa, what did that person just say about me? Okay. Now, if I know that's going to happen no matter what, can I determine that, as uncomfortable as that is, that I don't have to do what naturally that would drive, which is some kind of, I got to get that off of me. That's not right. That's incorrect. Do you feel? There's my wife yelling at the dog, having a button push with the dog. So, can I feel the impulse and just kind of observe that I don't have to do anything? Can I just sit with that to see what it feels like? When I went to rescue swimmer school to expand my breath holds to free dive, I remember what it would feel like when CO2 would build up and I would race to the surface to get air. And it took someone to tell me, Andy, on the other side of that, you have more time under the water. You're going to have to just sit with it and see that you're okay. So go back down and try it again. And when you feel the impulse to come back up, do your best to sit with it. And when you get through that moment, you'll find you'll have more capacity. And that's exactly what happened. Somebody who understood this explained to me that there was something on the other side of what I naturally felt like I want to do. I naturally wanted to come back up for air. I may naturally want to push back. Well, what if I practiced living what that felt like without doing anything to see that I was still here? And what if I could quietly and regularly work on expanding that capacity to where I'm just observing that this is happening without doing anything about it? It's helpful if you work on this with another human being. It's helpful if you work on this with someone when you begin your drill in a regulated state. You offer them permission. Look, I want you to say and do things that you know I don't like. And the reason I'm asking you to do it is because I want my body to generate the impulse that ordinarily occurs when that happens. And I want to sit with it for a minute to observe it. I'm not going to avoid it. Avoiding it would be reactively pushing back and perhaps trying to overpower the source of it. That's what most people do. That's what the police chief did on camera in front of people. Button got pushed, reacted instead of, can he listen to what someone was suggesting, which may have been incorrect? It may have created discomfort, and then remain committed to staying in self control so that they can form a response. It is an act of will, it is an act of commitment. If you're thinking that the training to get better at this is going to be without discomfort, you're mistaken. But it is possible. And once you discover that you can get through those milliseconds, knowing that I just observed an impulse that I would ordinarily act on, and now I realized I don't have to. I can have this discomfort and still do something deliberate. That's when you get real power over yourself. So, other practical strategies. A very visible one today, thanks to Andrew Huberman, is to take 2 quick inhales through the nose and 1 through the mouth. Even if you have to step away for a second. This stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. You may look funny to other people, but what are you trying to do? You're trying to manage the impulse itself by settling it down so you can re-engage with something deliberate. What's a third strategy? To be committed to beginning whatever salvo of language you're about to use in reply, that it starts with something validating. It starts with something that lets someone else know that they've been seen, heard, and understood. It sounds like you may be suggesting that I don't care about my job. It sounds like you're upset that you learned I was out of town. It sounds like the reality that I was out of town is being credited with some kind of major impact on the crime that occurred, as if my presence might have been able to stop it. What if your commitment was to letting someone know that they were listened to, observed, maybe you reflected what has been stated, maybe you emotionally labeled or articulated the unverbalized, maybe you validated in terms of history, maybe you validated in terms of current circumstances, or it said something radically genuine. Yeah, I know what it's like to be upset because of disappointment in a political official, a city official, a federal lawmaker. I know what it's like to be disappointed in those people. Imagine responding to someone who's using button pushing language that way. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to empower yourself under those circumstances? It can be more than nice, it can be real. You can actually do that. The people that this is toughest to do it with are the people with whom we have need in the relationship. Our most intimate relationships are the ones where people bounce off of their own impulses. You made me feel this way, I react. You made me feel this way, I react. Somebody has to live with the impulse and stay committed to doing something higher order for that to improve. If 2 people are constantly indexing their impulses and their action is springing from them, it's going to be very hard to sort this out. Somebody has to commit to doing something differently when their buttons are pushed. And the good news is my buttons can be pushed, and they're pushed regularly. It doesn't mean I have to do anything about it. When someone pushes your buttons, it doesn't mean that it has to equate to a unappealing reaction. My buttons get pushed all the time. People push my buttons all the time. In many cases, they don't even know it. And I quietly live with managing my own impulses and thoughts, and when necessary, responses, being far more in control of my emotional state than allowing another human being to do that to me. This is something that everybody can work on. Try it with a friend. Sit down when you're fully regulated. Get them to say and do things that you know are button pushers for you, and take a moment to observe your own thoughts and feelings about that and sit with it. Sit with it and remove its power from you. You don't have to like it, but if you want to get better at not doing things that are embarrassing, like our Seattle police chief has done, who's now trying to cover it up with passion. This is someone who became dysregulated. And guess what? $375,000 a year city officials get dysregulated like everybody else. So the idea that people who are in positions of authority or responsibility are somehow abdicated of the human experience is unrealistic. Everybody experiences it. What you do with it is the thing that separates the wheat from the chaff, the people who you want in positions of responsibility. We want people who are regulated in positions of responsibility because it's easy to be generous and nice and therapeutic with people when they're not pushing your buttons. It's much harder to do that when you allow other people to cause you emotional dysregulation. People can say and do vile things to me regularly, and that does not determine what my emotional state is going to be. Doesn't mean it's not hard, but you don't have to let it determine what your emotional state is going to be. You can do it differently. Hope you got something out of this. When someone pushes your buttons, it doesn't mean that you have to do anything. Doesn't mean that there's been an error, a mistake, a weakness. Your buttons will always be pushed. The world is constantly pushing buttons. What you choose to do is the difference. That's what we want you to come away with here. I hope the 3 strategies we gave you are helpful. Give them a try. Let us know in the comments if you practiced. Take good care. We'll see you on Thursday.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
More that you can lean into your own personal discomfort, say what needs to be said in a non-offensive way, the more you make the world a better place.